Hi, everyone. Welcome to the panel. I'll start by asking you, what's the most exciting thing that you're doing now at your companies to bring biotech into health prevention and to make it more accessible to everyone?
Okay, pues, well, I can start if it's okay. I'm working in Amadix. Amadix is a biotech company. We are developing early cancer detection just in a blood test, and we are able to detect the early signals of the cancer in a blood sample. So in this case, we can detect colorectal cancer, lung cancer, or pancreatic cancer, and this means that we can advance. We can take advance of cancer, so we can detect the early lesions that are not giving any signal. You are feeling perfect, but finally there is something inside that is going to be malignant. So I think this is a very revolutionary thing because we are able to extend life finally, because if you detect the cancer earlier as possible, you are able to just remove, and even it is not needed chemotherapy and some things like that. So it's really very innovative position now to extend really the life and to decrease the number of cancer and the mortality. That is something that we are working on.
Great, great. As a medical doctor, I've seen so many patients at the end stage when they had cancer, and unfortunately, the prognosis it's not as good as we would like to be. But
Yeah.
with early detection, we can help them, and that's amazing. So Daniel, could you tell us more about?
Well, I'm the founder of Apollo. We create Cardia, which is technology based in AI, which takes an echocardiogram, 2D echocardiogram, and we take the measures, make the segmentation of the chambers of the heart, and reconstruction of the 3D model of the heart just with the 2D image, taking not just the ventricles, also the atriums, and predicting heart diseases, and in the full sequence of the video, helping the doctors to reduce the time to analysis of the cardiopathies, and also to detect new kind of bad formations of the structures of the heart. And also, as we are using AI in the reconstruction of the 3D model of the heart, we are the first in the world to doing that. We are helping to the health system to reduce the cost of the heart disease analysis, because with Cardia, you can triage what kind of patients that they really need to make an MRI or CT scan. And even with Cardia, with the reconstruction that we made, you can go deeply to the heart, even playing with the interior and exterior of the heart, doing that some of the CT scans will be not necessary on that process. And also we are increasing the amount of patients that can go not just to the cardiologist, they can go directly to a regular doctor, because we have made a guide on the way that you have to take the image of the echocardiogram, which make more easy for non-specialist doctors on the tool. And it's like a web access, then it's not needed to be connected just with the PACS, which is the principal platform for the echocardiogram or medical image in the world. You can upload directly your images that can be taken in everywhere, giving access to the most advanced technology in the world in any part. You can do it in India, South Africa, or in any place where maybe they don't have access to new technologies or new kind of tools like that.
That's good. Cardiovascular are the #1 killers.
The #1 killer in the world. Is surprising.
That's important to get an early detection there. Luis?
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to be on this stage again. So I'm Luis, I'm CEO of iLove. iLove is a health tech, deep tech company working on the personalized medicine space. And while we recognize the vast importance of diagnostic, of understanding people's disease states, the moment you have a diagnostic, more often than not, you want to have a treatment approach that is going to work into the specific illness that you detected on the patient. And unfortunately, today, there's still a lot of still to be tackled, still to be cured diseases, so diseases that still don't have an effective treatment on the market. And in a lot of cases, some of those that are on the market, they serve only a subset of the patients. So maybe they're effective in a portion of the patients with a certain disease, but in the vast majority, they might not work or might even have harmful side effects, as we've seen with the COVID vaccine that, well, reacted in very different ways to a lot of different people. So in ILOF, what we're doing is we've been collecting massive amounts of multimodal data to create a platform that can accelerate the time that it takes to develop personalized therapeutics. So we've been working closely with global pharmaceutical companies, biotechs, and, well, leading research institutes in the US, UK, and a little bit all around Europe to help life-saving treatments get to the patient's hands faster. So we've been around for around 5 years. We've been very focused on a couple of disease areas, Alzheimer's being one of them. As you probably know, Alzheimer's is one of the biggest epidemics of our times. It's going to be, in the next 20 years, by far the biggest cost category. It's going to even surpass, and unfortunately, cardiovascular as the biggest cost in the national healthcare systems. Yeah. And unfortunately, there's still no disease-modifying treatment. So we've been laser-focused helping clinicians, scientists, and overall, well, the industry get an effective treatment into the patient's hands faster, and we're using AI, physics, and biology to tackle that.
Amazing. Because we're all doing very interesting things in the biotech space that has real-world application that can touch everyone actually very soon. We are seeing a paradigm shift in healthcare. Yes, we're moving from treatment, from late-stage care to early-stage diagnostics and treatment. And how do you see that biotech is uniquely positioned to make a huge impact there? And could you share some examples, specific examples of the changes that we are actually seeing now today, and how they will affect us in a bigger way soon?
Yes, well, I can give many examples of what are the real impact of early cancer detection, because, for example, colorectal cancer is the first cancer in incidence if we take men and women together, and is the first reason of mortality because of cancer. If we can detect the disease in the early stages, this means that it's a very small tumor, or even better, it is just pre-malignant lesions, the polyps. The survival, if you detect the cancer when it is in this stage, is more than 90% of survival. This means that you can even cure the patient if you continue a monitoring of the patient and being able to take out all the lesions. So 90% of survival, against if you just be aware of the cancer when it is in late stage, when it's even metastatic cancer, the survival is around 40%. So really, from 90 to 14% is a huge increment of survival. So the screening programs in early cancer detection has to be implemented and has to be adhered to people, because finally this is what probably can change the situation of the cancer now in colorectal cancer.
That's true, and since we're talking about early diagnostics from blood, from specimens that we collect from patients, still the majority of chronic diseases such as diabetes, dyslipidemia, and so these can be easily detected from blood, but we are not doing it enough. Mm-hmm. And I feel that it's also a challenge of accessibility and the emphasis that everybody should get screened, on a regular basis so that we can detect them earlier. How do you feel that the biotech can come and help us to solve this? I would say it's a low-hanging fruit. Yes, everybody.
Well, in my opinion, for example, one of the things that the biotech, and more specific the AI companies that is being applied in biotech, is the analysis of the information. Of course, the human analysis is limited even in the amount of items that you can compare or or cross each other to detect new patterns that can create new diseases in the health, then I think that the AI and complex models like with deep learning or reinforcement learning can help with a huge databases to detect new kind of cancers or even diabetes or heart disease or anything if we just create something that today doesn't exist, like a common databases worldwide where all the experts can show different cases that makes the difference between specific diseases and general diseases that is being created, and the AI and the previous analysis we can, or we are seeing that companies like three of us are helping to all of that, but I'm still missing, in our case, for example, the biggest advantage was not the technical, which was very huge, okay, to do what we do, is that it doesn't exist amount of echocardiograms segmented in the world where the doctors has detect cardiopathies where you can train your system. Then you have to create by yourself, then it's something that is unique and it's not accessible for someone else that has a good ideas, and this is one of the purpose that we have also in our company. Today we have more than 1.5 millions of images segmented and classified by doctors in our database, and we are planning in the future to offer some of that parts to science analysis and doctor analysis to create new tools that can help to the humanity, because I think that the principal purpose of biotech companies should be that one, right? Create an impact and a better way to the patients and the doctors and everyone who is working in the health sector to make the difference. And I think that this is the way to apply the AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, in my case, I guess the best example we can give is that, so we've been really laser focused in trying to get these life-saving medications into the patient's hands as fast as possible. And the reality is that the way that the way to get this medication into the hands of patients is, of course, so they can be life-saving, but they can also be, well, dangerous. So they need to go through clinical trials, they need to go through clinical studies, they need to go through a regulatory process. And a lot of the barriers that we try to tear down are actually in the interaction that the patients have with these clinical trials. So for example, in Alzheimer's or in many of these neurodegenerative diseases, the way to recruit these patients for these clinical trials includes a lumbar puncture. And the lumbar puncture basically is, well, you need to stick a needle basically this big into your back. You may need to do it multiple times towards the clinical trial. And it's, of course, invasive, uncomfortable, and even dangerous in some points. And this creates huge barriers, not just to the clinical study, but overall to getting this medication into later clinical stages and eventually into the patient's hands. And what we've been doing is really transforming this experience in a way that it uses data that is more widely available or already widely available in healthcare systems, recruit patients into these clinical trials faster, and overall just select the ones that can benefit the most from the study. And I can give you just an example of some work we've been doing with an Oxford-based biotech. They had a really promising treatment for Alzheimer's disease that they were struggling very much to get into the market for, well, lack of patients to test it on. And we helped them around, cut around 70% of the time and 40% of the cost that it took them to take their medication into later clinical stages. And we're now replicating this same study in actually around 30 clinical locations in Canada and in the US, hopefully, contributing to the arrival of an effective treatment for Alzheimer's that we badly needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so expediting the clinical trial process that brings new medicines is, of course, something that we hope for. It can be not only as a treatment, but also as a preventive measure, yes, to slow the progression of a disease. With the dawn of AI, because I think we're all employing AI in our, with the dawn of AI, of LLMs, we are seeing that the biotech landscape has evolved significantly, and that's why we can expect that in the upcoming years, we'll see so many solutions that will come to patients that we won't have to explain them. They will know them. They will feel them when they go to the hospital or to the provider. What do you think is the biggest difference that LLMs bring or the AI brings to our work? and at Biotech, and what things will come first in your judgment to patients?
You want to
Well,
start?
I'm very happy to start. So we were joking in the backstage that there were companies that are doing AI, and there were companies that were doing AI before it was cool, I guess. So there were. So in our case, AI is in our core, and the reason why we use it is because, so we're still a tiny company. We're like 30 people. I mean, distributed through a couple of geographies, and one of the questions that we normally ask people is, what's your view on the future of medicine? What's the view on the future of personalized medicine? And normally the right answer is that it's some variation of just a matter of, so the new dawn of personalized medicine and the scaling of healthcare for everyone is just a matter of time. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's just time. And really the great democratizer of, well, good healthcare and personalized healthcare for all is actually, well, AI, because medical doctors are not going to scale. They don't scale. They take ages to train. We haven't figured out a way to clone them yet. So there's no way that we can scale them. Neither nurses, neither most of these medical professionals. But with AI, we can actually get to more people, we can reach to more people, and either that is diagnosing more people or recruiting more people to clinical trials. And this is why we started deploying AI, because there was no way, number one, we could get to so many people, and we could train the models that we need to deliver the care that we need to deliver without the use of technology. And of course, now it's super fun and trendy to say that you're using AI. But it actually needs to have a meaning. And in our case, it's, well, make personalized medicine a reality for, well, 3 billion people on Earth for the next 10 years.
Well, in our case, it's because 3 reasons. The first one is the scalability. The numbers of doctors there is in the world that can analyze cardiopathies or heart disease are very small, because it's something that a doctor cannot reduce the amount of time that it needs to get an expert in that theme. Then the amount of patients that is suffering heart disease is increasing because of our lifestyle, genetic problems, and even now there's some studies about COVID, but it's not the case. And then for scalability, bring a tool, a technology to the doctors that can increase the amount of patients that they can analyze. The second problem that we are reducing with the AI is the variability in the diagnosis, because there's a well-known problem in the industry that even 5 good reputational doctors seeing the same image or the same sequence, they are measuring different, analyzing a little bit different, depending on the moment of the day, depending on the amount of patients that they have attended during the day, and that affects also in the treatment and also the diagnosis. Then, if we reduce that variability with AI with one only way to analysis that would be in the training supervised by a lot of doctors in the world with different opinions, then with that reduce of variability, we increase the efficiency in the diagnosis, and also we increase the efficiency in the treatment that the doctors is going to apply to the patients. And also, as a consequence of all of this process, we reduce the amount of death because of that cause. And that's why applying AI is very important. Another thing is that the tracking of the patients is very important, because when you are creating a full report automatically and the analysis, and the patient is being made echocardiograms with our platform during the time, you can see the evolving of the patient, and then you can be modifying, the doctor can be modifying the treatment that he is applying, even with the small variability in the items that the system is analyzing, will detect if it's being efficient, the treatment, or not. And that's very important if we want to predict the amount of people that would be dying because of the heart disease in the future. And that's why I think that also we can scale to other organs that can be analyzed by an echo hardware.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, in our case, we use artificial intelligence in 2 main ways. And the first one is that it's very needed because we can create algorithms with more accuracy. Because finally, we are using mainly the blood. We are using the data from the blood, from some biomarkers, and also data from the patient. So putting this in an algorithm, it is applying artificial intelligence and machine learning, it's able to make a better and more accurate test. So we are more secure to say that if there is a cancer, there is a cancer. And the other applicability that we are starting to use, and it's, we are hoping very much that this will help us also to create better algorithms, is that we are collecting electronic health records from thousands of people in order to find out other risk factors that are not so evident. I mean, tobacco, the food, alcohol are evident, but there are things that are not so evident, and this has to be analyzed, and we are able to analyze so many records that now we are just very, very near to have some risk factor that can make us to advance more the importance of having this screening, but moreover that this is going to be an algorithm that will take not only the blood sample and the age of the patient, that it is crucial, but also other risk factors, and this is something that the AI has allowed us, so it's absolutely revolutionary in this sense.
Mm-hmm. The current challenges in healthcare are, I think, known to all of us, yes, the aging society, the increasing costs, the insufficient medical staff, resources, and we know that it's not sustainable unless we move from reactive treatment to a proactive approach with prevention as the main, most important point. So I would like to ask you, just as a summary of our discussion, what do you think the 3 points, the three innovations that will come fastest to patients in the upcoming years?
Well, I think where you're working is one of the things that is going to come before the cancer analysis.
Biomarkers that will be able to detect diseases in an early stage. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think one thing that is going to be a change really is to be everybody to be conscious about what all these solutions can give us. So I think Biotech are making a lot of efforts in finding out different, and here there are 3 examples, but there are thousands of that. And if we are able to, or probably to merge and find solutions that are more multi-solution for the people, because finally the best thing is to keep healthy. So if you have a disease, to identify as soon as possible. So for me, probably it can be just reflecting one thing. Yeah.
Biomarkers sounds really good. Luis, what do you think?
Well, without wanting to repeat biomarker stuff, biomarker, no, I can't. I'm really excited about personalized baselines. Biomarkers in a little bit, but a little bit beyond that. So just imagine, so when you go and you do a medical analysis or when you do an exam, so the doctor doesn't know you, right? I mean, there's no way, or in most cases, the radiologist or the doctor that is analyzing your results, they don't know you. They just looked at 1,000 different patients. But imagine if you could have a way to understand what is your baseline. So what does healthy means to you? Because how many times did you have done an exam, or you went to the doctor and maybe your reference patterns were outside of the usual range, and then the doctor was like, no, this is usually fine, it's okay, you did a couple more exams. And sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's actually not. But the reality is that they're comparing you with the average individual so they added all the population, then they took an average, and they're trying to understand how do you fit there. But as an individual, in a lot of cases, you actually do not fit there. So with the power of AI and with, well, massive amounts of data, you could actually be able to store your own personal baseline, and then you would know what is, for you, what normal means, well, normal. And then when you deviate from this baseline, then you would immediately know that you're sick, and then you would immediately get diagnosed, and then you would immediately start a treatment approach. And again, when we go to a closed shop, we don't ask for a normal T-shirt. We know our size. That doesn't happen in healthcare. We just go by the average. And I do believe that taking an approach to medicine which is more personalized than the approach you have when you buy clothes is one of the things that is long due, and I think it's about to happen.
In my opinion, I think it's a combining of what you both are talking and also a conversation that we were having before, reporting and interpretation of the information that is being provided by the analysis companies. Of course, is one of the biggest cues that is creating in the healthcare right now. It's because I have the report and now, so what? And then if we have tools like you were explaining us before that can show us if the items or the information that is coming in the report, it means something or maybe not, it's very important to decide if I have to go or not to the doctor, and then reduce the queues for people that really needs to go there. And I think that the AI is very important for that, and the work that your company is doing on that, it's congratulations, because it's one of the things that it's also doing in Caria, because for us, the reporting for the interpretation of the patient is very important. Okay, I have one item, in my case, for example, when they made it to me an echocardiogram in 2D, it appears that my left ventricle was like a little bit smaller than the injection fraction was lower than should be predicted. And then if I saw that, it's like, okay, maybe I have a huge problem, but it's not that, because then when you make the reconstruction, then you can see that there's a huge problem there. The interpretation of the information for the AI, it's very important to give access to the regular people to interpret information that is very specified for doctors, and then having an overview of what's going on.
Can I add something? Because I think all of this is not possible if this is not accessible.
Well,
So one of the main points we are suffering for sure is the access. So the regulation is very strong, it's stronger in a time. So I think this is needed because products that has to be in the market has to be very well regulated. But also there has to be tools that can make these solutions really are in the market, because they can make a change in the health system and in the current pathway of the people in the hospitals, and you can save people to go to a hospital and just being at home making an electrocardiogram or so I think this is another step that is not in our hands, in the hands of the biotech. It's more in the upper levels of the and probably the association of biotechs is also one of the most relevant things that can really make this a reality.
And in 2 seconds to complete that, we have 2 different problems right now: biotech regulation and AI regulation.
Yeah, that's.
Then now it's like another derivate to make it more complex to access the people, and also to creators to create companies that it's you know.
True.
It's a totally different discussion. What regulations we need and how we should follow them. But what's important, and I think that's what we touched, that we are seeing a shift, a paradigm shift. Medicine is moving from hospital to primary care, from primary care to home, and we are all getting more access to information, to health information that helps us to make more informed decisions and be more empowered to take the right care. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.